For years, humanity has been searching for intelligent extraterrestrial life. And for all those years, our efforts have been met with a deep, profound silence. But now, the situation is completely different and terrifying, because a massive object has been detected moving silently toward Earth, following an improbable trajectory within our solar system. And this time, scientists aren't just curious, they are deeply concerned. Because according to some scientists at Harvard, this first contact might not be as friendly as we hoped. Meet 3I Atlas. This is no ordinary piece of rock. The probability of its orbit forming by chance is less than 0.005%. And its trajectory shows that it has the ability to hide from us behind the sun at the most critical moment, and then perform a flawless deceleration maneuver to remain in our solar system. This is a massive celestial body with a trajectory that, according to known models of the universe, should only be seen once in millions of years. And now, some scientists believe this may not be a natural stone, but a deliberately guided visitor. In fact, Harvard astronomer Avi Loeb and his team are now giving this terrifying possibility a concrete date, late November or early December 2025. This is no longer a conspiracy theory, because the ones who put forth this research are not everyday content creators or conspiracy enthusiasts. This is a study conducted by reputable scientists, presenting a testable hypothesis based on scientific principles. And this hypothesis suggests that humanity's final great test has already begun. There's no need to fasten your seatbelts, because this mystery isn't in the depths of space. It has already arrived at our doorstep, and studies show that with our current technology, our window to intervene is already closed. It all began on an ordinary summer day, July 1st, 2025. The Atlas telescopes, perched on the volcanic peaks of Hawaii, were scanning the night sky, just as they do every night. Their goal? To detect near-Earth asteroids that could pose a threat to our planet. That night, the software detected something unusual. At first, it seemed like a routine discovery, but when the orbital calculations were made, it sent shivers down the spines of astronomers. The orbit wasn't elliptical. It wasn't a closed loop. It was hyperbolic. This meant only one thing. This object was not from our solar system. Just like the mysterious cigar-shaped Oumuamua that appeared and vanished in 2017, and the comet Borisov observed in 2019, this object was a traveler from the bottomless void between the stars. The scientific community named this new visitor 3I Atlas. The 3I standing for Third Interstellar Object. But as the initial data started to roll in, it became clear that 3I's Atlas was nothing like Oumuamua or Borisov. So what set this object apart? First, its speed, 130,000 miles per hour. That's about 36 miles per second. At that speed, it could travel from Los Angeles to New York in about 1 minute. This speed indicated that it could easily escape the sun's gravity, meaning it would leave just as it came. Second, and more alarmingly, was its size. Initial estimates placed its diameter between 7 and 12 miles. Let's consider that number for a moment. The Chicxulub asteroid, which wiped out the dinosaurs and 75% of life on Earth 66 million years ago, was about 6 miles in diameter. 3I Atlas could potentially be twice as large as the rock that caused that cataclysm. This wasn't a city killer. It was, officially, a planet killer. But the real bombshell dropped with a paper published on July 16, 2025 by Professor Avi Loeb, Adam Hibbard, and Adam Crowell from Harvard University. This preprint paper, not yet peer-reviewed by other scientists, sent a shockwave through the scientific community. Even its title was provocative, but its contents were pure science fiction. At this point, we feel a short clarification is necessary. The fact that a scientific paper has not been peer-reviewed does not mean its content is speculative. Many groundbreaking ideas are born this way first. peer review is important, but it is not absolute. In their paper, Loeb and his team asked a simple but terrifying question. What if this is not a coincidence? At the heart of their claims lay two key pieces of evidence. The first was the object's orbit. As 3i Atlas hurtled toward the inner solar system, it made unsettlingly close passes by key planets, as if on a pre-planned tour. Its route brought it close to Mars, then Venus, and then the colossal Jupiter. According to Loeb, it seemed to be using the gravitational fields of these planets like a slingshot to adjust its speed and direction. Let's give you a quick piece of information here. The phenomenon Loeb describes is called a gravitational slingshot, and NASA routinely uses this technique to send spacecraft to distant planets. So, what is the probability of an interstellar rock, completely by chance, making such precise flybys of three major planets in our solar system? Loeb and his team calculated this probability. The result was statistically almost impossible, just 0.005%. That's a 1 in 20,000 chance. This was a probability as rare as flipping a coin 14 times in a row and having it land on heads every single time. Such probabilities are mathematically possible, but they rarely occur, even over billions of years. Was it possible? Yes. Was it suspicious? Yes. Highly suspicious. According to Loeb, this was not a random drift, but a deliberate path, like the path of a probe, meticulously studying our planets one by one. The second piece of evidence was even more chilling. The timing. The moment it would be closest to the Sun, its perihelion, was calculated to be October 29th, 2025. What was special about this date? On that day, the object would be almost completely behind the Sun, or lost in its glare from Earth's perspective. Meaning, at the very moment it was closest to us, and potentially most dangerous, it would be nearly invisible to even our most powerful telescopes. Could this be a coincidence? Maybe. But in military strategy, you make your most critical maneuver in your enemy's blind spot. And that's exactly what Loeb and his team were suggesting. 3i Atlas seemed to be deliberately concealing itself. It was using our own star as a curtain against us. This was not the behavior of a friendly visitor. This was the behavior of a predator, a spy, or something far worse. The paper combined these two pieces of evidence to reach a shocking conclusion. 3i Atlas may not be a natural object. With its high speed, massive size, statistically impossible trajectory, and strategic timing, the possibility that it is a potentially hostile alien craft had to be taken seriously. In an article where Loeb published his personal views on Medium on July 16, 2025, he also presents a few new and very striking ideas beyond the scientific publication. Loeb explains the situation with the famous philosophical argument, Pascal's wager. According to this, the potential loss of believing in the threat and taking precautions is small, while the potential gain is infinite. Whereas the potential gain of not believing is small, but the potential loss is infinite. Therefore, he argues, it is more rational to believe that the risk exists and act accordingly. It's stated that 3i Atlas entered the outer boundaries of the solar system about 8,000 years ago. This timing roughly coincides with the period when humanity began to record its history on Earth. This brings to mind the question, has there been a long-standing observation? Furthermore, Loeb criticizes his colleagues in the scientific community for not taking this possibility seriously, and he throws down the gauntlet saying, ignoring the technological option is not a sign of intelligence. So, what should we think in the face of these claims? Let's consider three main theories. Theory 1, it's just a rock. The most fundamental principle in science is that extraordinary claims require extraordinary evidence. Skeptical scientists say that Loeb is acting hastily. Yes, the probability of the orbit might be low, but the universe has existed for billions of years and contains trillions of objects. Low probability events are bound to happen if you wait long enough, like someone winning the lottery. Furthermore, we still know very little about the object's composition. The timing of its perihelion behind the Sun could also be a complete cosmic coincidence. They remind us that Loeb made similar claims about Oumuamua, but the majority of the scientific community agrees that it was a natural object. In their view, declaring a rock an alien ship without concrete evidence is not responsible scientific conduct. Theory 2. It's a reconnaissance probe. This theory accepts that the object is artificial, but assumes its intentions are not necessarily malicious. Perhaps it fits the concept known as a Bracewell probe, that is, an autonomous robotic vehicle sent by another civilization, designed to approach and communicate with a technological civilization once it detects one. Perhaps it had been passing near our solar system for hundreds of thousands of years, and when it detected the radio signals we've been broadcasting for the last century, our technological signature, it changed its course toward us. In this scenario, the close passes to the planets are not a threat, but an act of data collection. The effort to remain invisible isn't aggression, but a precaution. An advanced civilization, when making first contact with a less developed one, might prefer to observe from a distance and in secret to avoid causing chaos or panic. Theory 3. It's a threat. This is the scenario that keeps you up at night. This theory assumes the object is artificial, and its intentions are definitely not friendly. The evidence, when reinterpreted through this unsettling lens, becomes far more sinister. The Fermi paradox, which asks, where is everybody, has one possible solution, called the Great Filter Theory. According to this theory, there is a filter that prevents intelligent life from surpassing a certain technological level. For example, interstellar travel or nuclear weapons? What if the Great Filter isn't a natural barrier, but a conscious force? What if there's an ancient guardian civilization in the universe that sees young civilizations reaching a certain noise level as a potential threat and eliminates them? This idea also aligns with the dark forest hypothesis. From this perspective, 3I Atlas could be a great filter mechanism. Its 7 to 12 mile size makes it a kinetic bombardment weapon. If it were to hit Earth at this speed and mass, it would release enough energy to end not just our civilization, but all complex life on the planet. This impact could be millions of times more destructive than a nuclear arsenal. Its strategic route might not be just for observing our planets, but for calculating the optimal attack vector. Hiding behind the sun is to prevent us from targeting it or preparing a defense until the last moment. Its speed leaves us very little time to react. With our current technology, deflecting or destroying an object this large and fast is nearly impossible. This is not a first contact scenario, it's an extermination scenario. And our radio signals, the hello we sent to the universe, might be a death warrant broadcasting our location. Following the publication of this paper, all major space agencies around the world are on high alert. From the James Webb Space Telescope to the giant radio telescopes on the ground, every eye is locked on 3I Atlas to gather as much data as possible before its inevitable disappearance behind the sun on October 29th. Astronomers are trying to understand its composition by analyzing the light reflecting off its surface. The answers to these questions could determine our fate in the coming months. If it's confirmed to be a natural object, the world will breathe a sigh of relief. But if even the slightest evidence of it being artificial is found, humanity will face a crisis it has never encountered before. This will become not just a matter of scientific curiosity, but one of national security, and even the survival of our species. Is 3I Atlas an invitation to join a galactic community, the final test in humanity's struggle for survival, or just an asteroid? We don't know the answer yet, but we know one thing. After October 29th, 2025, the way we look at the universe will never be the same again. Perhaps it's time to remember the famous words of science fiction author Arthur C. Clarke. Two possibilities exist. Either we are alone in the universe, or we are not. Both are equally terrifying. So what do you think?